Hi everyone, very important lesson, very important. I can practice modeling exponential functions by identifying which formula to use and substituting in. Also, we want to be able to write the equation first. You need to have this memorized at a certain point. For today, for now, we can refer to it, but at a certain point, we have to have it memorized. We have our song to help us memorize it. Get me on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music potentially. This is what everything means, but you need to know these formulas and when to use them. That's what today is. So, number one, I'm looking for keywords and phrases. I'm looking for compounding. I'm looking for continuously. I'm looking for half-life. I'm looking for irregular time. Again, irregular time meaning that it's increasing by a certain percent every 2 years, every 3 seconds, not every 1 year, every 2.5 or some type of irregular time. If I don't see any of those keywords or phrases, if there's none of those, then I use my OG, my original one. Jackie deposits $26,000 into a savings account with interest compounded. Boom, there's my keyword, monthly. If it's compounded and not continuously, that is my N formula. N is the number of times compounded, so N is 12. So I'm going to write my N formula, A equals P 1 plus R over N to the power NT. A equals P equals R equals N equals T equals. Jackie deposits $26,000. That's the initial or starting amount. We said that N is 12, compounded monthly. There's 12 months in a year, 4.6%. That's my rate. As a decimal, I move the decimal place 2 to the left, 0.46. Write an equation for A of T. So instead of A, they want A of T, the account after T years. End of question. It's asking for an equation. Do not read past there. The 4 does not exist yet. I'm going to write an equation with two variables. A of T equals 26,000, 1 plus 0.046 over 12 to the 12T. I like you to combine what's inside the parentheses. You don't have to, but when you're finding T, which is the next lesson, it's going to make the algebra easier to have an actual number in there. 1 plus 0.046 over 12, 1.00383 repeated. 1.00383 repeated to the 12T. That's the answer to the first question. Now that I have that, use your equation to determine how much money will be in our account after 4 years. Well, number of years is T. So this is telling me that T is 4. So now I'm going to substitute 4 in for T. I'm going to type that into the calculator. I've got 26,000. I can copy and paste this thing to the power of, we said 12 times 4. With money, we want to round to the nearest cent, unless it tells us otherwise. 31, 241, 42. 31, 241, 42. So you have to identify which equation you're using based on keywords. Compounded could be either N or PERT because it's monthly. It's anything other than continuously. It's the N formula. I write the formula. I sub into it. If it asks me to write an equation, I write the equation first, then I sub it. All right, I'm looking for keywords or phrases. The population of Schlansky, Arizona, wouldn't that be great? Increases by 18% every 3.2 years. That is irregular time. So I know I'm using my irregular time formula. A equals P, 1 plus or minus R to the T over H. A equals P equals R equals T equals H equals. That's H. H is the time it takes for the percent to be applied. That's my R as a decimal, 0.18. My P is 2750. It wants an equation for P of T after T years. If it says to use specific variables, we do have to use those specific variables. Also, it says increases, so that's plus. 1 plus 0.18 to the T over 3.2. Again, I would like you to do what's inside the parentheses if you can. You can use a calculator, but that's 1.18 T over 3.2. That's the answer to the first question. Now, using our equation, what will be the population to the nearest person 12 years from now? That's T. So T is 12. So I'm doing P of 12 equals 2750, 1.18 to the 12 over 3.2. P of 12 equals 2750, 1.18 to the power of 12 over 3.2. Did I do that right? Can't really see here. Yup. To the nearest person, 5116, 5116. Again, I looked for keywords or phrases every 3.2 years. That's irregular time, so I use the irregular time formula. Once I do that, I'm just subbing in. A bank account opened with 2,700. Interest is compounded. Boom, there's my keyword. It could be one of those. Continuously. When I see continuously, that is PERT. So I write A equals PE to the RT. A equals P equals R equals T equals. It's open with 2,700. That's P. Rate is 3.76. So that's 0.0376. B of T is A. T. B of T equals 2,700. E to the 0.0376 T. Nothing to combine. That's my equation. Now that I have my equation, using your equation, what will be the balance after 8.1 years? That's T. So T is 8.1. So I'm replacing T with 8.1. I've got 2,700, second ln for E, 0.0376 times 8.1. Just making sure I typed that in right. I think I did. Enter. We're talking money here. 2 decimal places, 3661.28. They're all the same, but they're all different formulas, which is why it's important you read carefully. You find the keywords and phrases that tells you which formula you're going to be using. Number 4, a certain car depreciates at a rate of 14% each year. Okay, I don't see compounding. I don't see half-life. I don't see irregular yet. If the car was initially worth $22.50, write an equation. I don't see compounding. I don't see half-life. There's no irregular time. It's 14% each year. There's nothing below. I'm using my standard OG exponential formula. A equals P equals R equals T equals. R is 0.14. Initial value, that's P, 22,500. It wants V of T. after t years. So v of t equals, again, I don't read past this first sentence. This is the first question. That 12 doesn't exist yet. Depreciates means minus 1 minus 0.14 to the power of t. I'd like you to combine what's inside the parentheses if you can. 1 minus 0.14 is 0.86 to the power of t. Again, that 12 doesn't exist yet. This is the end of the first question. When they ask you for an equation, write an equation. Using your equation, what is the value of the car 12 years later? Well, that's t. So now I'm going to replace t with 12. 22,500.86 to the 12. 22,500.86 to the power of 12. Money sent 3682.68. 3682.68. I'm not going to do a whole nother one, but we'll just talk about the start because that's the important part. Is the start is recognize which formula you're using. The half-life. Boom. Half-life. Half-life. A equals P 1/2 to the T over H. A equals P equals T equals H equals. The half-life is 73. That's H. The initial is 7.4. It wants A of T. It wants T. I sub in the values just like I did for the other ones. That's it. Very important lesson. You have to know these formulas, and you have to know when to use them. We just spoke about finding your keywords and phrases. If there is no keyword or phrase, we use the original. We sub the values in. If it says after t years for an equation, we just write an equation first before we sub in, one sentence at a time. That applies for any math problem. Very, very important. Practice this. I just add a lot more to this lesson. It's very important it gets practiced, whether you're watching this in December, January, or you're watching it in June preparing for your readings exam. Practice it, memorize your formulas. Goodbye.